This story comes to us from wypr.org. You guys are going to like this one, I think. I don't know. We'll see if you really believe in what they're saying here. But the independent investigator behind a comprehensive 500-page report on the Baltimore Police Department's infamous gun trace task force told the city council Tuesday a lack of accountability led to wide-scale cynicism about the department's internal affairs unit. Now, remember, it was the GTTF that had the issues out of Baltimore. I think I did an editorial on those officers. Remember that? And now they're doing this comprehensive report.
For the first time today, Baltimore city leaders met with the group that produced the final report on the gun trace task force.
And thanks for staying with WJZ at 5:30 tonight. I'm Rick Ritter.
I'm Nicole Baker. That report came out about 2 weeks ago and included some very shocking details about one of Baltimore's biggest corruption scandals.
And WJZ live tonight right outside of Baltimore Police Headquarters. Jessica Albert, she listened in on that meeting between the city and the investigating firm.
That meeting lasted about 2.5 hours today. They discussed the mistakes that the Baltimore Police Department made and the changes needed moving forward.
Michael Bromwich, a former Justice Department Inspector General, pointed to Wayne Jenkins, Daniel Herschel, Jamel Ram, and Robert Hankard, who ascended within Baltimore Police Department's ranks despite long histories of misconduct by evading internal punishment. Well, yeah, because internal affairs are the guys they drink beer with. You're asking them to investigate this guy. He's going to have to drink a beer with him on Friday. Bromwich said, quote, they had committed egregious enough offenses that they should have been terminated by the department well before they completed most of their GTTF-related crimes. He recommended the department bolster its internal affairs unit by retraining investigators in interviewing and writing skills and trial panelists. Sounds like a dog and pony show. I don't know, it just sounds like that to me.
During the meeting, Bromwich discussed a number of recommendations that have been made to the police department, including changes in hiring, training, and oversight and accountability.
I think the culture is changing, but it's like turning an ocean liner. It's very slow and it requires patience.
Bromwich says there is a new training program being implemented in the department that encourages officers to intervene in misconduct. He also believes the use of body cameras will deter corruption. Bromwich says these recommendations should put BPD on the right track.
Make these recommendations things that BPD can now look at and say, we can do that. It'll be hard. It may take some time, but we can do that.
He said the parole board members in many cases don't seem to understand what their mandate is, which is to be satisfied that proof by a preponderance of the evidence has been shown, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. See, preponderance of the evidence is tipping the scale. Beyond a reasonable doubt is, do I doubt or do I not? He added that Baltimore Police Department should actively work to strengthen staff ethics, from increasing the integrity standards of recruits to assigning a veteran officer to mentor to each new officer. Yeah, that'll work. Get a veteran cop to teach the trainee. It's like the blind leading the blind here. He said those are the times historically when corners are cut, where standards are lowered, and that simply can't be done. If that is done, you have a much greater risk of having corrupt officers in your ranks.
Baltimore's Public Safety and Government Operations Committee met with the firm that released the report on the gun trace task force Tuesday to discuss what was found. The report detailed a long history of corruption inside the Baltimore Police Department that allowed the crimes committed by the gun trace task force to happen.
There was an accountability system within the department that was viewed as non-threatening.
The report says members of the department turned a blind eye to some of the illegal activities of the task force because it was netting a high amount of arrests.
That really is shocking, the way they felt they had impunity to abuse people in Baltimore, to violate their constitutional rights. And they really didn't seem to fear until the very end that there would be any consequences.
So they're saying, you cut corners and stuff when you try to have these these recruits, you try to get him out there, see if they, hey, let him ride on his own, see how he does. No, he's saying take a veteran officer and assign him to this guy. Now, it might be a good cop. Maybe the veteran officer is a good cop and he's a good trainee and whatever, or trainer. Or maybe he's one of those that's rising through the ranks with misconduct. Now he's training this trainee how to do misconduct. They just, what was that one? SGV News First. For those of you who don't know, he's a YouTuber. And the field training officer was telling his trainee, the new officer, okay, go ask him a bunch of questions. Tell him you want his ID. And SGV had committed no crime. That's my point. Teaching trainees how to violate civil rights. So I don't know. I think this thing on how we can avoid police misconduct is really like, hey, let's do this report, and the public will go, see, they're doing something. Yeah, they're putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone.